As the tears fell, my faith, I was hopeful that the country would do something right. And when that didn't happen, I was very disappointed.
Previous to the announcement, there was still hope in the crowd. And you could see it in everyone's face that they believed that even though all signs pointed to a non-indictment, they had hope that there would be some type of change.
I immediately thought about my young son, who is 19 years old, and I know how fearful he is, and I know how he is internalizing this tragedy, and I felt like my son had been denied a right to justice, and I just saw Michael Brown laying in that street all over again.
When the verdict came out, there wasn't really much time to grieve before things escalated. So it went from like hope to just silence and just a damper over the entire crowd.
It's hard. Last night was one of the hardest nights of my life, probably. It was like a military kind of war scene of just, you know, you're thinking you're in a suburban town. Ferguson is a suburban town, and you're seeing riot gear and tear gas.
I grew up there, and it's my community, it's my neighborhood, it's my city. And seeing my own city on national news it's been heartbreaking for the past many months. And so as soon as I heard from Anthony that they were doing this, I was all in, no matter what it took.
The Freedom Rides took place throughout the Black-led freedom movement of the South, where students, young people, older folks as well, would take these rides through dangerous territories in order to be bearers of justice and in order to bring attention to an unjust system. They have been shown to be effective in building community and also in raising up awareness for particular justice issues. So we wanted to situate our movement in the movement of our ancestors and do what we could to help Ferguson.
It's hard because no matter how much training we get, when we're there on the front lines, all of that goes out the window. That fight or flight kicks in, and either you're gonna stand and you're gonna do something, or you're gonna run, or just give up. And the police officers down there are doing things that are completely different than we've ever seen. So you can prepare, but really you just have to prepare your mind, because no one really knows what could happen on a day-to-day basis.
I think a huge surprise is how well organized this movement is and who it is organized by. This is a movement that is predominantly organized by the youth. The youth are the ones who said this is not okay, and they're the ones who stood up and fought for justice.
I'm sensing an unrest with our children and our children's children. So I'm sensing that there's a season of unrest with our young people, and I'm sensing a deliberate attempt by law enforcement and government officials to systematically, I know it sounds harsh, systematically exterminate this new generation. But I'm sensing a hopeful energy that says we will not stand for this and we won't take it anymore.
Police brutality is everywhere. As we just saw in the news last night, there was a young man being beaten with his girlfriend brutally on the news here in Denver, Colorado. And it's something that is so hush-hush, and people fear the police most times, that they don't do anything about it. So not only just in Denver, but across the nation, it's something that is far overdue and that needs to be talked about and said and stopped.
What have I been seeing in Ferguson, and what should people expect? The first thing I've been seeing is incredible young people on the ground. And that's the untold story of this movement, is that there are brilliant and brave and resilient young people who are engaging in one of the most prolonged and organized mass demonstrations in the history of our country second only to the Montgomery bus boycotts. And that's the story. I've seen mothers and fathers and cousins who just want to make it.
In going to Ferguson, I fell in love with the town and the people and the passion and the fight for justice that they had. And though in going back, I'm gonna see a lot of destruction, I believe that the hope of the people is still gonna have that same light in Ferguson. So I'm going back because I want to, at night I didn't really get to see much of what happened to the city because we were driving and it was dark, but I want to see what it looks like in the light, and I want to see what the people of Ferguson are doing in reaction.
If people want to go, what they should expect from me and from the group, first of all, is that our #1 priority is safety of our group. We're not going to be heroes, we're going to be partners and supporters of what's going on out there. We also want to connect as a team, so we're going out there actually to build a stronger Denver. We want to create community in that van as we ride. There's nothing like being on a road trip that creates community that we're going to need to bring back here. And then finally, we're going to participate in nonviolent demonstrations. We're not going to be outside agitators. There are no outsiders in the movement for justice. There's only insiders. So we're going as part of the human family, a diverse group that's going to participate in the uprising that's happening until we get justice, not only in Ferguson, but in Denver and across all the urban neighborhoods and suburban urban neighborhoods in our country.